Hi guys, welcome to the not so live Dev Fireside podcast. I'm Mikko, actually back for a few weeks now, but I'm joined here tonight with Jennifer, Liz, and Howard from the office. So welcome everyone. I guess we'll start off by just covering a lot of the basic stuff real quick about the last few weeks. So I know you guys have been watching and paying attention, and that's really awesome. But we've been kind of like all over the place last few weeks, obviously due to holidays, fighting with certain bears, and traveling across vast oceans. So, things can sometimes get a little crazy for us. But we're back, and we are striving to keep everything more consistent so you guys can have more weekly updates on what we've been up to. So, without further ado, I guess we'll go straight to you, Howard, and get some of the scoop on not just this week, but maybe the last few weeks, and give some of our players some insight on what's been going on but for Muse games in January and end of December.
There was a stretch we actually didn't do anything. This time, I'm actually telling the truth, right?
Wow, there you go.
Everyone. It was so cold. It's one of the colder, factoring in wind chill is one of the colder winters I think we've ever had. At least that stretch. We had some pretty obscene temperatures. So during the holidays, I think most people just sort of stay put. And honestly, I don't really know the intimate, things that people did on their break. But at least for me, I was just kind of hanging with my family for a bit, and just largely stay in the city, and try not to freeze to death. But as far as work goes, really, the biggest update, I think, is on the PS front. I mean, we can get into the update next week as well, but the biggest thing is PS4. And apparently, with this latest round of submission, I think we are one issue away. At least based on their latest, I had a call with Sony yesterday, and at least based on their latest and their tracking, we're one issue away, and that issue is really not us. It's a Unity Photon related thing in splitting out audio for headset, and just in a weird in a basically weird edge case. So we're actually trying to get that waived, because right now Sony, they're asking for it in the QA process, but in reality, Photon and Unity don't really support that case yet for cross-platform. I mean. So we're hoping to get that waived, and once that becomes available, we'll add it as a feature. And if nothing else, we may be able to get through cert at the end of this week. That's actually possible now. I mean, I don't know what else they'll throw at us potentially, but that's actually a possibility. And if that's the case, then really it's just gearing up for release. But there's actually still a lot of work, right? Because once we get through the cert in the North American region, we actually have to go through the cert process for their EU, which is a total separate system. But hopefully with the gold, essentially what will be considered a gold master copy or build, that process is at least it should be quicker, because we've done it once before. But yeah, essentially we have to go through the same thing all over again. With their system, and at the same time, I think for the European submission, we have to localize just the store page meta into something like 16 or 17 different European languages. So I think once we get through cert, I actually need to jump on that and get a translation service to help us at least localize the store page. I'm doing the PEGI, which is the EU rating submission. And that is
that's a journey.
If you go to PEGI's website, right, it's a infernal loop of failure. It's okay, I want to you go to their their submission page or whatever that page is, and you want to basically, and all it has is just a login. There's no way to register for an account. There's no way to tell you how to register for an account. Right. And so you're okay, I'll think around it and see, go to the FAQ for whatever submissions. And they're oh, there's a form that you need to go through. Okay, so you look at the form, and it's not really a form.
There's
Right?
nothing
It's
to
like
fill
just,
out. There are no fields to fill out.
And so so I'm like, okay, fine. Like, I need to talk to, I guess we're supposed to reach somebody, and there's no email contact. So, yeah, luckily, I think at least a few of the devs who are trying to get the ratings have this same problem. So actually, I found more Alex and I found more information on Sony's dev portal. And so we found a way to contact, and that's where we're at. But
So
there's still
basically
like more logistical work.
Yeah. So basically, you're saying you're a game developer and an undercover, super secret investigator.
I thought you knew that already.
No, I don't think you need.
I'm kind of divulging it for the audiences.
Anybody can go to that website and just look at how everything could potentially fail. Like, if there's a way not and that's basically just like, the bulk of the work. And we still have some UI tweaks that we want to do, right? But the idea is I just get through cert, and we can use the update process to patch in some of the remaining UI fixes that we want to do, because we still have some controller related ease of use issues that we want to address. But aside from that, we should be pretty set. And then the rest of it just, working with Sony to figure out what the right release date is, where we can get featuring, get some promo, and start spreading the word and whatnot. Tentatively, we are looking at, late Q1, meaning somewhere around the end of February to early March to be on PS4. That's
Nice.
around the time frame that we're looking at. But I mean, granted, we just need to get through cert first, because I mean, we're doing like PlayStation. We dropped out a PlayStation blog and they're reviewing it, and there's like any promo things that we're talking about, but nothing can really firm up until we have a firmer release date. So we'll just have to figure that out. Hopefully, we just have to get through cert ASAP and figure that out.
Well, by the time people watch this, they'll have seen this will be the end of the week for them. So, because this comes out on Friday in the evening. So, hopefully by then, cert this week will have gone successfully.
Yeah. So if I was to play, prognosticator, if I was just pretend that this is Friday, we could be like just pretend that we're celebrating. But then again, we might not get cert, so it would be a total lie.
That's right.
Do I have any celebratory items? Hold on. I have a Vincent Price bobblehead. Does that count? It is right next to my computer screen, so I can look at it all the time. I'm holding it up. You can't see it because you don't have the video, but you will.
I think with next week's update, right? I don't know if we were segueing into that, but I am personally actually pretty hyped, because the ship that my adopted favorite, it's not really quite my favorite, because obviously my favorite is Spire, but my adopted favorite would be the Stormbreaker, right? And that's making it into PvP. Obviously, I have some, I'm a.
Oh no, we lost him!
Oh
no! The whole system crashed for him. Okay, well, that's we'll go ahead and segue into the update. Apparently, Howard was very, very excited about that. So
yeah.
Now I brought Jennifer on. She joins us from time to time, but she has very intimately gotten involved in the testing with a lot of you guys and testers, as well as internally with our team, to figure out what we should do for our next update. Now, I've taken a look at this changelog. It is shaping up to be a pretty big update. So I'll go ahead and pass it on to you, Jennifer, but I just want to say that there's going to be a lot of interesting responses to see what kind of what kind of changes and how this game kind of shapes up. Because it's like every time I see these updates, especially this one here, it's like it'll be a whole new game for me, I feel like, in a lot of ways. So go ahead and take it away, Jennifer. Show us, go through, just give us a brief overview on what we'll be expecting for our players.
Okay, so there are a number of ship changes that we're looking at, including for the next update. Changes to the Mobula, the Magnate, and the Junker. Junker will get a little bit more forward speed and a little bit less vertical speed. Magnate is getting more armor so that it's not quite as squishy as it has been. Mobula is getting some of its maneuverability back from the balance that we did. Oh, when was that? Was it the end of last year? Late last year, I think. No, not late.
Last year.
Yeah, it might have been late 2016. I don't remember exactly when we did that.
Oh, that far.
But it lost a lot of forward speed, forward acceleration, vertical.
Yeah.
And it's getting some of that back, so it should be able to brawl a little bit better again.
See, players can't interrupt us anymore with this whole, you've nerfed everything we touch, and it's like, but we're going to beef this one up back again, so can't take us with that one anymore, guys. That's right.
Yeah, a lot of the complaints I heard were that those changes made the Mobula, it didn't really hurt it in the range disable game. It just made that all it could do at high levels of play. It really hurt its brawling because it didn't have the maneuverability to get in there and fight.
I guess so. It is a slower ship. I have been able to brawl with it, but I suppose I can see that it's not as flexible as it was before.
So we're trying to give it some of that back so that you can see a lot of double gap mortar Mobulas again or something. Whatever people.
All right.
Probably flak these days instead of mortar, but
yeah, we'll see.
There's also a lot of changes to Crazy King. We have all Crazy King maps are going to be available for 2v2 and 3v3. Before, they were either 3v3 or some of them were just 4v4.
All Crazy King maps. So this is holy crap. That's like a whole. It's like what? 4 maps? 5 maps?
Excuse me.
I think it's 4 maps, isn't it? Like I think 3 or 4 maps, maybe.
Angling Raiders, Radon Refinery.
Yeah.
Slate Hills.
Slate Hills. Yep.
Is there another one?
Maybe it was just 3. I had the impression it was 4, but still.
I mean,
like 3 more maps at least. Right?
Yeah,
3 more maps at least in 2v2. That's
yeah, and on top of that, there's a lot of changes to just the way Crazy King works. The points are larger, the points cap faster. A lot of the points have been moved around on various maps so that there should be less travel time between the points. So just to make a faster game. In addition to that, the capture point active time is reduced. So you're going to have like quick brawls at the points and then moving to the next one, compared to a long time to capture, a long brawl, and then a long flight to the next point.
Yeah, especially if it's decisive brawls too. So
right, and also the first point will always be A, which for a lot of maps is in the middle, or for Flayed Hills it's at the north of the map, but the initial spawns are different than the spawn points. So all player ships will spawn, I want to say it's like a kilometer and a half or 2 kilometers away from the first point.
Yeah.
And then, so you'll never have those situations where the first point is much closer to one team than to the other. The first point will always be equidistant from the initial spawns. And then after that, all teams have shared spawns that are placed around the map. Instead of having, our spawns are in the northeast and theirs are in the southwest. So that point's in the southwest, so if they die, then they're going to be closer to it because all the points are the same. All the spawn points are the same. There's a few other changes.
Spread out like they were before, though, across the map.
The spawn points? Yeah, they're a lot like King of the Hill spawn points on like Desert Scrap, or Parison, or Labyrinth, where they're spread around the outside of the map, and they're all shared.
Okay. So the strategy of like dying at a point and then spawning for the next one is still a viable meta.
Yes. Yeah. Could be.
Yeah. You never know.
But one team won't have an advantage based on what the next point will be, because they all share the same spawns. So no matter what point is coming up next, both teams will that strategy will be equally viable or not viable.
Sure.
For both teams.
I mean, it hurts you if you get killed. It's 15 points to the other team.
It 13 does.
Points. So still, there's some deterrence there, I guess. Yeah. We'll see how it goes. Be fun. Right.
It might lead to more of the let's not quite kill them. Let's leave them on the ground, because no matter where the point is, they're going to be close.
Raid on Refinery. That was the fourth one.
Oh, okay.
So Angling Raiders, Raid on Refinery, King of the Flayed Hills.
Well, no, it's
no, that's something you mentioned. Oh, whatever. Maybe it was 3 maps. I'm like looking at the list here. I'm thinking,
yeah,
fourth one. I'm like desperately searching. I can't find it, but yeah.
I know we've been talking about creating a Crazy King for Ashen Scuffle, but I don't think there's been any work done on that yet. It's just something we're talking about right now.
Yeah. Kind of fun.
There's also a few specific changes to the various maps, but don't think those are important enough to cover just now. Mostly
just briefly cover it, yeah.
Yeah, mostly altered flight ceiling on Raid and Refinery, altered point limits on the different maps.
Cool.
Yeah, it's a lot for Crazy King.
Yeah.
And having played it, it is a much faster, more exciting game. It's not, okay, time to go to the next point. All the NGs hit an engine for the next minute.
So, Library and Warlore. You want to dive a little bit into what that's going to be changed about that?
Okay, yeah. The library has had a complete redesign, overhaul, whatever you want to call it. It fits better with the new UI design. No more tattered pages. It looks
so
really
nice.
It looks really sharp and clean. Not that I didn't like the tattered pages, but it does fit better with the current UI design.
Now, in your opinion, do you feel that it's user friendly? Like it's easier to browse through the information you need to find?
I don't know. That's hard to say because I'm so used to the old one.
Right.
Okay.
And so basically, we're saying that it doesn't necessarily look better, and it's like not necessarily better, easy to use. Great.
No, it looks really good.
So
it looks really good.
Once again, we obviously just.
It is improving though. Like it does look a lot nicer.
It does.
Yeah.
I tend to. Yeah. I'm just messing. I tend to think that. Yeah, I think it looks better. I mean, just
definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess we should mention, we're not going to go too much into it though, but obviously this has been mentioned a couple of times during the streams, questions from players and emails, and just discussion that we've had with players directly in the game itself. And this has been something that's been going on for a couple of years, I think, but players have requested, especially for events, special tools to assist them in events. Now, I'm not going to go too deeply into the details of this as we're still kind of fine-tuning and making sure everything's ready to go, so we want to make sure it's solid first. We'll talk more about it next week in detail then, but what I will say is that this is a new function that we're also going to be including in the game, which allows players, certain types of players, usually moderators at this point, who can host lobbies and provide tools for events, among them, timers and certain tools that would help them with engaging players in the lobbies or in the matches themselves. But again, we'll go more into it next week, but we have been working very diligently on this, and I have been mentioning it on previous streams, but I think we're pretty much ready to see that introduced at this point for this next update. So on top of the new maps, or the adjustments to the maps, the new changes to ships, and all of the UI updates and everything, this is definitely shaping up to be a pretty massive update, actually.
Yeah.
So like the meta is going to sharply change, I think. I don't know how it'll change. I've been so focused on the Junker one because I'm a big Junker guy. So I'm like, that's a big one for me. But like, now you mentioned the Magnate, that's really going to help. The Mobula definitely is going to be like improve as well.
One thing I forgot to mention too, the Spire, it's only one change, but all of the hitbox of the ship that is attached to the balloon, everything from the base of the orb up, is going to be balloon hitbox now.
Ooh.
So you won't be able to fly above the Spire and shoot down into that strip of hull. It'll all be balloon. Unless you pop the balloon, of course.
Controversial, but interesting change.
Yeah.
See that change in play soon too. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it'll be interesting.
Yeah. So that's like the gist of like what's going on in the updates. We're going to have everything posted for you guys when we actually do make the updates. So be sure to check out our Steam forums or the game forum itself. We'll be making announcements too, so you can see all the updates and details there. So I guess, like, Liz, on your front, how have things been for the last couple of weeks? Because we covered a lot of stuff at the office. We've been covering a lot of stuff in the testing. How is the media world?
It's good. It's been going good so far. It's been busy, especially with everybody being in and out. It's been hard to kind of rally everybody and get things organized, but it's picking up now. It's settling down. I think everybody's over their holiday buzz. The one big thing that I specifically want to mention is this weekend we are at PAX South.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, we are. Texas. That's a big thing. That's in Texas. So we are at booth 11448. Swing by. You're going to get a taste of some of our cross-platform play between the PC, PS4. So that's really exciting. We're going to have the Matts and Sean there. So
is Howard, you going there too, or
no?
Okay, it's just for those. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, oh man, like, kind of want to see a picture of you trying to like eat into like a giant slab of steak or something, like proper Texan, like doused in the sauce, like.
Well, I mean, I was pretty hyped, right? Because San Antonio, I've never been to San Antonio. I heard it's like really awesome. I mean, I did. It's not like I've never been to Texas, right? I mean, I actually.
I haven't. Yeah.
I haven't.
Like I've been to Dallas a few times, or at least the Dallas Fort Worth area a few times. Some a few friends there. Went to Austin before. I mean, Austin's barbecue is pretty legit. I would say. Yeah, their barbecue is amazing.
Oh yeah, you can't go wrong with anything that, like, when it comes to those stereotypes, because obviously they're known for it for that reason,
I mean, I don't know, right? I mean, I don't. I mean, I think Matt Hardman, Kivias would know.
Yeah.
But then again, he goes to the PF Chains and stuff all the time. Like,
PF Chains is like everywhere though, so.
But still, dude. Like Anyway, like I.
There's a very specific type of comfort that comes with going anywhere in the world and knowing that you can find exactly what you want.
So anyways, I mean, I can't proclaim myself to be some Texas, mead expert or anything, right? But just
aficionado.
because it's sort of self-selecting. Because when I go to Austin, I was getting referrals, so I'm pretty sure I end up in the best barbecue places, right? Mm-hmm. But the best barbecue in Austin, Texas is pretty amazing, I would say.
Yeah.
I bet that's going to be the most controversial statement of this entire podcast.
Of all the statements, that one hits it on the nail. It takes the crown.
I make controversial statements. That's what I do. But
yeah, of course, obviously, yeah. So I guess, I don't know, Howard, have you been following the news from Monday on the whole airport flooding thing at JFK?
Oh my God, yes.
Yeah. I happen to be a victim of that, actually.
Really?
Because I was supposed to fly out Monday and land here in Europe on Tuesday. And my flight, I first want to say one thing. I know a lot of American airlines tend to charge for bags, and they do all these fees, and there's a lot of discomfort and blah, blah, blah. But I have to say, for international flights, Delta is actually really, really good. I'm not advertising for their behalf. I'm just saying very excellent service. They've weathered me through that whole mess, and they were just super awesome about it. So it turned out that the flight was canceled. Like, first it was like, it's just Terminal 2, don't worry about it. We're going to be landing probably in Terminal 4. I didn't know anything. I was like, sure, okay, whatever. Sat in the gate, waited. There were like a half-hour delay. I'm thinking, it's probably just New York, like delays and stuff like that. All the planes trying to get in. And then they're like, we're going to be canceling all New York flights for this evening. I'm like, cool. Like, so we had to go to these like help terminals and reschedule our flight. And they put me up for roughly the same time the next day around midday. But I didn't realize this, but I went from like Cleveland to Detroit as opposed to Cleveland to New York. So I went there, and then they had me put in a first class for the long distance trip. I was like,
oh,
yeah.
All right.
So you have like,
nice.
It's like one of those, like, it's like the little compartments where you have like a bed and everything. And they're like, would you like a glass of champagne while you wait for the passengers to let you? I'm like, yes! Like, we had our own exit. We had our own exit off the plane. And everyone else was getting off. And it's like, please, first class passengers, please. Like, red carpet. Let's go ahead. A gold-studded, go-kart thing. Golf cart you can just sit in and get driven to wherever. Like, it was like, yeah. It was the first time I've ever done. I've done first class before, but not on a long distance trip, and it was very very comfortable. I'll tell you what.
You're saying the only reason why you actually and now saying that Delta is good, whatever, because
no.
So it personally drives you. So it's like, come on, man.
No. I'll be honest. Like on the way over too, the service was great, and the food wasn't actually that bad for a big corporate airline. Like for long distance travel, it was actually quite decent. And I've been on quite a few of them in Europe, so yeah, I like it. I'm cool with it. You know, as far as the international travel, the domestic one they charge a lot of stuff, so that kind of sucks. Yeah, but it was totally worth it. It's totally worth it. If you guys ever get to try first class though on any plane, it's pretty amazing. So, especially the long haul ones. So, but yeah, we'll be covering dev games next week. Oh, actually, we have one tonight. It is Thursday, so we're gonna be doing one tonight. But I guess.
But by the time you see this, we'll have already done it.
So you'll have to be our scrubs, or if we're like super awesome at our skills. But my arm is functioning. Like I could mostly, close it. So
did you just flex on camera?
No. I was trying to.
Is the beach that way?
No, I was just trying to like show off like the ability of the body's ability to like rebuild itself.
All I heard was I was just trying to show off.
All right, yeah, we'll go with that. But yeah, so you guys remember there's still events going on this weekend. It'll be more exciting when the update comes out because we'll see a lot more changes then. But enjoy the last weekend with these current changes, and then we'll see you guys next week for more detailed analysis of all the changes going on and what we'll be doing and what we'll be expecting for the events as well next week. So join us then. I guess since it's Friday for you guys, see you next Tuesday for the Dead Games. And have a good weekend, guys. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Later.